Hey guys, and welcome to an Omsi 2 video. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Omsi 2 map, Cotterell. Now, just to get started guys, if you don't know what Omsi is, it's basically just a bus simulator game. But it is fairly complicated once you get going, but I think it is a fairly cool game. Now, if you want to sort of hear my thoughts on the game and a quick sort of tutorial on how to do it, it's about 20 minutes. I'll leave a link in the description down below and you guys can go and check that out. But with further ado, here's the map, Cotterell. Now I think what I'm going to do first is choose a bus. Now this map is left-hand drive, which I believe is quite interesting in terms of functionality and how the map works. So I've downloaded a few buses. I believe the bus I'm going to choose, I believe like I've not necessarily used all of these buses, but I think just a basic one I'm going to use the London Citybus, as it's fairly basic, fairly easy to use, and it is fairly cool. So I'm going to leave a link down below if you guys want to go and check this bus out. So as you can see, there are lots of different textures and stuff. I'm going to use the Eco Life, and I'm going to use the Stagecoach with advert skin, and we're going to see how it goes. So if you want to know guys sort of what the depot means and all that stuff, definitely go and check out the video that I did. So yeah, let's get started with the map review. So there is only one bus route in this map guys, and it basically runs from the University of Cotterell to the bus station. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the bus station, and because I figured it's kind of the most conventional route going from the bus station to the university. So yeah, let's get going. So as you can see guys, everything is now loaded in nicely, and I've got my nice Stagecoach themed London Citybus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop in the driver's seat, and I'm going to turn on the electricity, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of a combined review from this bus and the map, the Cotterell map. So it's a fairly interesting bus. Unfortunately the mirrors don't work, and as you know in Omsi it is quite difficult to drive without the mirrors, but yeah, that's just some seats. I think that's on one of the original buses actually, so they haven't ported the mirrors across. But yeah, I believe the bus works fairly okay besides that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look on my timetable and I'm going to see what routes there are. So there's only one line. There's the U18 line, and we can either, that's the University of Cotterell and a bus station waiting point. This one's in 3 minutes, so I'm going to put this on, and I press Shift and Y to bring up that screen, and I'm also going to go to the line manager and put on the U18, and we are going to the university. So I believe I added some custom text on this. Actually no, this isn't the one I added custom text on actually. So yeah, as you can see now I'm the U18 to University of Cotterell. So overall though guys, I do think this is a fairly neat bus. If you're going to start driving left-hand drive maps, right-hand drive maps, sorry, I believe this would be a good bus to start with. As you can see, it's double-decker bus, fairly standard. I don't really live in London, so I don't really know what the buses are like over there, but I think it just sort of feels stagecoachy if you get what I mean. So yeah, it is a very nice bus. I do like what they've done with the design of it. It kind of looks like the Dennis Enviro 400. I'm not sure if it is loosely based off of it, but yeah. So let's get started with the bus route, guys, since we've got 2 minutes to get to the bus station. So I'm going to hide this menu, stick it in neutral. So yeah, the engine sounds are pretty accurate. So yeah, I'll turn off the handbrake, stick it into drive mode, and off we go. So as you can see, from my knowledge guys of driving this bus, I would say that it is a fairly, I think it is a fairly accurate clone actually. Okay, I've slightly driven through the car in front of me, but I do think it does feel fairly accurate in terms of how the bus is. Obviously the engine's at the back, so the engine sounds are a lot louder at the back. I'll just stick it into neutral for you guys and give it a bit of a rev, just so you guys can sort of hear what it sounds like. So yeah, for the Eco Life, I think this is what the bus sounds like. Obviously I've never been on one of these buses, but yeah, I do think this is pretty much what the bus sounds like. So as you can see now we're off again. And we're heading for Cotterell bus station. Now I must admit, I'm not the best Omsi driver guys, so if I do crash into things I do apologise, but I'm just sort of driving around, and the London Citybus to one, give you guys a bit of a review of the bus, and obviously one, give you a bit of a flavour for the map. Because I believe if you are starting to get into right-hand drive maps, guys, this would definitely, in my opinion, be a good place to start. So we can see I'm just going to park my bus up and open the doors. So as you can see, we've got some passengers boarding. I'm going to be right back once all the passengers are boarded. Okay guys, we are back. So as you can see, I'm now on time roughly with my schedule. Now there is one thing I'd like to point out with this bus, guys. It doesn't really come with any sort of system where you have to have the station brake on to have the doors open. So as you can see, even when you're driving along, you literally can just pretty much open and close the doors. There doesn't really seem to be much of a restriction. So as you can see, if I just now stick it into reverse, I start driving backwards, I can still keep driving backwards and close the doors while I'm driving the bus, guys. So as you can see, it is a little bit, I'm not really sure if that's intentional, if that is part of the bus, whether you actually can do that, but for the buses that I've driven, mainly in the past, that is something that you can't really do. Most of the buses do require you to have the station brake on. Something else as well, if I drive along and then I stick it into neutral and then into reverse, it doesn't always do it, but if you're going forward or going backwards, and then you instantly change, say, from reverse to drive while you're going forwards. So you can see, if I stick it in reverse and sort of go hard reverse, and then attempt to stick it into drive mode, as you can see there, it kind of just sort of collects a little bit, but a lot of the time it will stall your bus. So just be careful when you're doing that, although I can't really see many situations why you would want to just go straight from the reverse to the drive. So as you can see, we're now setting off on the route. Nothing's coming, got no mirrors, and the game's crashed. Oh no, we got off again. This is something that I have noticed quite often, not just specific with this map, but with Omsi in general, is that you will find that sometimes it does crash a little bit. Even on sort of higher end machines. I know my machine isn't necessarily the highest, it's not at the top end. It does seem to crash quite a little bit. I'm not really sure if you guys are having the same sort of performance issues, but I have heard from some people that they are in a similar boat to me with having the performance issues. So yeah, if you're having the same performance issues, guys, just feel free to drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. So yeah, just waiting for the lights to go green. I do think overall, guys, when I have had Omsi for a few months now, but when I was first getting into it, I did find it sort of very difficult, because obviously, initially, would you start on the Berlin map? If I'm honest, I do think it is a bit complicated for someone who's just starting playing Omsi, and obviously being someone who lives in a quirky England with our driving on the left, it did seem a little strange driving on the right with all the right-hand drive traffic and the roundabouts and all the signs and stuff. So I figured an easier place to start driving would be driving on a UK map, and this one is fairly small. It only has one route, so you've not got to worry about you know, having whatever HOF file, because I know in the Berlin one, in the original one, I believe you have to have a very specific HOF file. For whatever year it is, because I believe it ranges from about 1998 to 1991 or 1993, I think, somewhere around there. And if you have the wrong HOF file on, then you can't all the lines and stuff won't work, and none of your passengers will actually board your bus, which is a little bit annoying. And I had to sort of fathom that out myself. But if I'm honest, I only fathomed that out not so long back, because mainly I had just been used to playing these maps with just the one bus route. So I'd say if you are just learning Omsi, guys, this is a great map to start on. It's you can obviously go in here and you can turn the directions on. I'm gonna be honest, I'm quite sad. I have basically played this map so much that I have pretty much just learnt the bus route off by heart, so I don't even need the directions anymore. So yeah, so obviously if you are learning the map, guys, just stick the directions on and then you guys should be good to go. Now also when I'm playing, I have the simplified money option on, so basically a lot of passengers basically just board the bus. They don't even pay or anything really, because I've got that option turned off just to save time. Now this bus is fully functional. As you can see, this is probably a bit dangerous, but I'll just zoom in. It does have all the ticket options, so as you can see, like singles 120, returns 450. Not really sure how that works, because it's probably cheaper to get 2 singles than to buy 1 return, so I'm not really sure how that works, but I guess that was something to do with the I don't know whether that was a thing with the bus or whether that's just a thing with the whether that's a thing with the map. But yeah, so obviously if you don't have the simplified money option on, then you will have to worry about that.
Hello, is it me you're looking for?
That is something I've actually found out, which I think is pretty cool. The map has actually integrated some British voice sounds into it. So mostly, if you've noticed that when you're playing the game, you just have the standard the standard voices that are in German. But I think the map, I've actually played quite a few British-based maps, and a lot of them don't even bother with like the proper voice system. They mainly just stick with the German ones, which I do think is actually quite interesting, guys. That this Cotterell map is the only one that has really sort of, you know, gone full British and sort of actually got some voice actors and stuff that all are basically in English, and they're not just I've not really seen many people board the bus and try to ask for a ticket in German in the UK. That's just my experience, but hey. So yeah, so I do think, guys, that there has been I don't think that the developer has basically said that he's not actually planned to expand this map at all. So I do believe this is basically the finished product of the map. I think the developer said, unless there's any specific problems with the map, he's not really going to touch it anymore, because I think he's working on other projects. But I'd say it does look a fairly complete map, guys. Like, as you can see, it has like our quirky roundabouts that seem to go the opposite way round to the well, like, from the other countries in the world. So our little quirky England. So sounds like they don't even like my driving either. But yeah, I would say overall, guys, you know, I know I keep sort of saying the same thing a lot, but it is just basically a really sound map if you guys are trying to learn the map. So I think what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna pause the video for a little bit, and once I get a little bit further into the map, I'm gonna show you guys some more. Okay, guys, we're back. I did have a little bit of a computer derp there, but yeah, the map's all back up and loaded. So yeah, I think what I was saying, guys, is about the exterior of the bus. So I do think the developers, well, at least of the London Citybus, have definitely done a good job on designing this bus. But now in hindsight, I think what I should have done is shown you the bus that comes with the map, because when you download the map, it's not just a straight install, here you go, install the map files. Obviously you get the HOF file, which obviously you need to be able to display the like the line numbers and stuff on it. But besides that, you basically get a bus that comes with it. You get I believe it's some sort of Volvo double-decker. We probably are going to see it on our travels on the way to the university. So I'd say if you want literally just learn the map, it does sort of come with everything you need within the install. So when you buy this map, it obviously, the developer understands that obviously not everyone is going to have a left-hand drive bus straight off the bat. So it does come with a bus in the install, and it basically recommends you use that one for the most stable runnings. Obviously you can use other buses, it just basically it's if people don't want to mess around and get another bus, it does come with that, which I do think is quite a nice feature of the map, if I'm honest. It definitely shows that the developers put a little bit into thought into releasing the map, rather than just saying, okay guys, here's the map. I believe it also comes with install instructions. So if you guys are, I should say, new to getting Omsi maps, you do have the developer of the map has had the courtesy to include that. So yeah, so you guys shouldn't have to worry about the install too much. But I believe if you guys are wondering how you install maps and you're having a little bit of trouble with it, just drop a comment down below if you want to see the video, and if I get enough requests, I will do the video, guys. I will sort of show you guys how to install a basic map, how to install vehicles, and especially how to install the Cotterell map, since this is the one I'll be reviewing in the video. Of course, like always, the links to the game and the map and stuff will be in the description down below. See, I believe now we are coming up to the end of the bus route. I'm just going to turn down here. It appears there's some more people complaining. I'm not really surprised, if I'm honest, but So I'm just going to reduce speed. So just to finish up a few final notes for you guys, I will say that unlike just your standard Omsi maps, I think this game does have like the map. I keep saying the game. The map does have certain details and stuff that I would let's say if your computer isn't, if you're struggling to run like the original Berlin maps and stuff, I wouldn't recommend installing this map. As you noticed, even I had some performance drops in certain parts of the map. But obviously in the university, I'd say this is probably one of the more performance friendly zones of the entire map. So you guys may have a few performance issues, but I don't really think it's that demanding. Like my computer has a 6th Gen i5 and it runs the map perfectly fine as a rule. It's just in certain areas you may get a little bit of lag. But I do believe, guys, like I said, just to finalise this video, I know the route is coming to an end, I do think it is a really solid map, guys, if you are just learning Omsi. Even if you have no interest in playing the left-hand drive maps as a rule, I just think the fact it has one bus route, it's completely simple, really easy to sort of get your head into the controls and the game and stuff. So yeah, but I think that about draws the video to an end, guys. Just to summarise, guys, yeah, I'd probably rate this map highly. I'd probably say about, say, a 7 or 8 out of 10. I just think the fact that it, it's really simple, really easy to use, get into the game kind of map. The only thing is I'd say its own simplicity is a little bit of a downfall. The fact that once you have done the route and you've sort of gone back a few times back and forth, it does kind of get a little bit boring, and you do pretty much want to sort of go out and leap into the big Omsi world and sort of do all the bigger bus routes. But I'd say just starting off, guys, this is a really good starting point, a great way to get your head around the mechanics of the game. Also, just to summarise the bus, I would say, the London Citybus, I'm going to leave a link in the description for this as well, in case you guys don't want to use the Volvo, which comes with the map normally. Although bear in mind, you will need the to transfer the HOF file into this bus if you decide to use it. The one thing I have noticed, guys, this map is a little bit strange for it, that if you try and change the display to say not in service, for some reason it doesn't want to do that. It does not want to display not in service. As much as passengers now see that it's not in service and they won't get on anymore, it just doesn't register on the front of any of the buses that I've tried. So that's probably one thing with the map that I would have to say. But yeah, so if you're looking for for a good double-decker bus, I'd say this is definitely a nice, easy one to get your head around. There's no complicated controls. There's no requirements at bus stops to put your station brake on or do silly stuff with the doors. It's pretty much you download it, you put the electricity on, put it into neutral, start the engine, take the handbrake off, and then you're off. There's no silly startup procedures. So I'd say for learning the game, this is pretty much my sort of a little package. If you just want to sort of get into the game, a London Citybus, or even use the Volvo and the Cotterell map. Really good starting points if you want to learn the mechanics of Omsi. And then obviously if you want to advance into more advanced maps and more advanced buses, feel free. But yes, this is kind of a bit of a beginner's guide to Omsi, or what I would recommend if you're getting into it. Again, if you want to see more of the bus design, helps them to turn the engine off. As you can see, my opinion, looks really nice. I think it is missing certain details, like on the poles and the stop buttons. I think are missing a little bit of detail. But I do think as a rule, it is a really nice looking bus. It has a lot of features, like the door. I don't believe the door's actually open. I believe in here, this is obviously where you can get your change if you just open this thing. If you do that, yes, I have figured out eventually you can open and close this door. I'm not even sure how to replicate that actually, but so yeah. Also, this is where your sheet is to show you where all the stops are. You've also got the ticket machine, and then you've basically got your drive, neutral and reverse, the handbrake. You've also got the steering wheel, hazard lights. I believe that one's the electricity. Or it's maybe to start the engine. I'm not entirely sure what all the features are. And then obviously you've got certain lights. You've got the foggers, which don't actually work unfortunately, which is a little bit annoying. You've basically got just a few I think the whole point of this bus is meant to be basic. It's not meant to be overloaded with loads and loads of features. So it is a really basic bus to get you going. It's also got this thing to put in your destination, which I believe does actually work. So if you sort of want to put your destination that way, you actually can. So I can say destination number, and you can say put in 1 or whatever you want to do. Anyway, so I've been Poet Plum. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye from Poet Plum.
Everything changes.